Jonathan Singleton has had a pretty good run of luck in 2008. With #1 hits for Billy Currington and Gary Allan, he's won countless awards for his songwriting. As with many writers, they also enjoy performing their hits on stage, where we had a chance to catch up with Jonathan Singleton and The Grove at Nashville's Mercy Lounge. Here's Kelly with more.
I have caught up with Mr. Jonathan Singleton and The Grove, new recording artist on Universal South. Tell me, you got a lot going on. Let's talk a little bit about back home. Where is back home?
Back home is West Tennessee, Jackson, Tennessee, about 2 hours west of Jackson, right in the middle of Memphis and Nashville. So we played there for probably 10, 12 years or so. I gave it away, didn't I? I'm an old guy. But I figured out maybe 17 or 18 I could go out and play gigs and make the same money I was making in framing houses is what I was doing at that time. And back then I ended up getting a job at a studio, and I was doing some engineering, and I was teaching guitar lessons and drum lessons and stuff. So I just kind of figured out this is what I got to do. And when I started creeping up on 30 there, I said, I'm either going to do this thing or I'm going to get out and do something else. So luckily it worked out. I didn't have to learn to do anything else.
So you were with your guys, The Grove. They were all your band there, and you guys played out every Friday, Saturday night, and developed a following, and that's so cool.
Yeah. So we would play, actually, we had a house gig Wednesday, Thursday, and then I would come up to Nashville, right, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I would play Wednesday, Thursday, and then we'd go out of town and do college gigs or whatever we were doing, weddings or whatever we could do, as a matter of fact. And in one way or another, it's been The Grove for a long, long time. Some of us like about 10 years or more.
You've had 2 huge hits as a writer, too. Congratulations. I mean, Gary Allan cut Watching Airplanes, and that went #1 for you, and then you had a Billy Currington #1. I mean, tell me about how fast that happened when you were writing.
Really fast. Really, I mean, as a matter of fact,
which is unusual.
It was unusual, and we were actually in Jackson moving from. I said, I'm not going to move to Nashville until I have to move to Nashville, and by that time, our schedule had got so much that I was having to. The first time I heard Watching Airplanes on the radio, we were moving the last of our stuff out of our apartment in Jackson.
Oh my gosh, that gives me chills.
Yeah, so I think about a year we had been here, and which took the time to write the song and do all that stuff. So it happened really fast, and I was terrified. Still terrified, I think, about that. But I guess about almost a year ago now, or maybe a little bit more, I found out Billy Currington was doing the Don't thing. And these are all songs we pitched for our record, and so Mark Wright and those guys, they said, well, we can get this going, get some momentum going, maybe with some songs getting cut, and it worked. It worked out for everybody. It's probably just time.
Producer-wise, you work with Dan Huff.
Yeah.
And did he do your whole album, or?
He did the whole album, and I actually signed publishing over at which was Diver Dan, now since changed to Crosstown. So I've been working with them for a really long time in one capacity or another, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and Dan did an awesome job on the record, and got to go through with them and pick songs, and it was really kind of an organic way that it happened. It was really nice, and some wonderful songs that I love on there, and the ones I expected that I didn't like, I ended up loving those too, so yeah. But it's one more day.
A single that's getting ready to hit the radio stations everywhere, Living in Paradise, right?
Living in Paradise, and it comes out March 16th. I think that's right, yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit about that. Were you a writer on that song?
I was, yeah. There was a guy, it was me and a guy named Ted Jones were back home writing a whole lot of stuff and coming up to town, and actually one of the songs I brought to Nashville when I moved up to get my publishing deal and try to do artist thing. So yeah, it's kind of a little thing about me and my wife, and the good things in life, kind of thing. Don't be surprised when you see me back in church. When I lay my head. To be a new artist, I read, Carrie Underwood, you're going out with Eric Church. Yeah.
I mean, things are just really happening for you. Tell me how it was opening for Carrie or playing out with Carrie. And
that was actually the first, when we got to town and all the guys, and we said, okay, this is what we're doing. We're doing the going to go out and do the artist deal. We said we want to play. I mean, that's what we did. We didn't know how to do anything else, so we're going to do something that we know how to do. We knew how to play. I was learning the writing thing, was learning the artist thing. So our first gig, we signed with CA, and our first gig they booked us was opening up for Carrie Underwood. So you can imagine all these guys coming in. We were all trying to be really cool as we walk in and we see the stage, and we're like, oh yeah, on the stage. You know, it's like, 40, 50 foot. We got back in the dressing room, and we were like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And so soon after that, we did some Phil Vassar and did some Joe Nichols, and did just a ton of people, and then Eric Church, and so Eric's got us coming out on this tour with him. Yeah, here starting in March, I think, and hopefully this will work out for us.
Jonathan Singleton and The Grove are releasing their debut single to radio now, so keep an ear out for it. Living in Paradise, the lead song off the new Universal South album, to be released this fall. We've got to take a quick break, but there's still lots more ahead, including a visit with a new artist at Nashville's Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, so don't go away.
Hey, this is Matt Stillwell, and I'm here at Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, a very famous place here in Music City, and you're watching Inside Music Row.